Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Chente, from Speak in Code, yes, once again, you have found your way into the Fox Den for this episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. Yes, this is the stomping ground and the home of the Midnight Society. Absolutely delicious. And now that you have released my shackles and set me free, it is time for the Midnight Society to once again stalk the Dogman. And remember, massacres make the dream work, or something like that.
Blow, cracks, shadows morph, fangs, pierce, beast reborn, fury rise, health ignites, burning rays, endless nights.
When I looked into the eyes of this Dogman, there was nothing. This thing was an apex predator.
Milk road, cracks, shadows morph, fangs pierce, beast reborn, fury rise, health ignites, burning rays, endless nights.
My creatures of the night, yes, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. We have somebody who's popped in before and is also a member of the Midnight Society. Yes, we have Chente from Speak in Code stopping in to the Fox Den tonight. How you been, man?
Hey man, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sitting down with us and allotting some time. And yeah, it's always good to link up. And once a month or so, we should at least try to get you up on here. What have you been up to?
Man, I'm just out here chilling, living. What about you? I know you stay busy.
This is good, man. And yeah, pretty much just been grinding away, putting out videos as much as I can and just getting caught up on, like I was mentioning, some other social media platforms that I've kind of been slacking on that are still ways to market my YouTube and such. So I've been digging through all that and getting caught up on editing images, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff, man. So
Nice. All right. Yeah, man. I know you stay busy, bro.
you know how it is, no sleep for the wicked or whatever terminology people
Yeah.
want to use, but you just got to put in the work, man, to be successful at whatever it is you're doing in life or whatever adventure or an endeavor people are on. So I encourage everybody, just put in the work and you'll get your payoff. Sometimes they're sooner than others, but
Yeah, man. That was deep. Take that to heart.
so when it comes to tonight, we're going to dive into some of the Beast of Bray Road in Wisconsin activity. But have you yourself heard anything new pretty much along the Dogman lines? Or
I don't know if it's new or if it would be new to you or your listeners, but my wife did send me something. It's like a Dogman captured on camera from North Carolina.
interesting.
And
Would you like to touch base with that real quick before we dive into Wisconsin and kind of give us the rundown?
well, so from the page it was on though, it was like a Bigfoot page, and they're saying they're trying to compare it to Sasquatch or the Dogman. So like it was new to me because they said that one's never been pictured as like clear as this one, and I could slide you that picture as well if you wanted to take a look at it. But um, it's just new to me because no one's really ever sent me stuff about Dogman, and it might be an old thing to you like once you see it, but that was pretty dope for me, man.
That's cool, man. Yeah, no, I'll definitely have to take a look at that. And did you get a chance to check out the hoax video that Drew helped me come up with the music for, where I pretty much just break it down as to why images are just absolute hot trash because I'm working on also a live werewolf video where Drew helped me with some more of the music. I'm actually working on two of them. One of them is in post production right now where we're just adding some of the special effects on the werewolf eyes, etc. And the next one we're making, I'm just waiting for a friend of mine, her leg to heal up a little bit before she can come and start doing some crazy stuff up in the trees and some cool stuff. So, but what I was trying to get at is I broke it down, man, about how easy it is to make a hoax, and I tried to just sell it for as long as I could without just getting people to get too upset. But long story short, my little brother peeks out behind a tree for the actual music video. His eyes just light up from the reflection of the camera. It literally looks like a real dog, man. Then what do you have to do? You just go in. Yes, I have a real trail camera image. I go in, remove the background of the trail camera image. So now that I have the insignia, it's transparent. So then what do? You upload into your editing file, and then you put the transparent trail cam logo over top of the image now, put it through a filter a little bit, make it a little darker, and boom, there's your little hoax video. So I broke it all down in that about how I did it and literally just how images are just not cool.
Yeah, man. I saw it. It is super simple now. And then now that I feel AI is going to play a big part into that stuff too.
Yeah, man. And it just really, I guess for people that aren't familiarized with how editing works, sure, I guess it could be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, that's what I do. I'm a videographer, a journalist. I mean, I do a lot of my friends help out with my visuals, but I mean, I'm an artist as well. So I really understand what you can do to alter images, man. I mean, I'm a former actor and model. That's literally what that whole industry is about, is altering images and such.
Yeah. I figured there's a lot of that stuff going around for the
Yeah, no,
cryptid types, you know?
yeah, so funny, man. But all right, so I got the good old coal-powered Chromebook fired up here, and I'm gonna try to read you a couple that I feel really haven't been covered that well. I mean, the majority of the ones that definitely have some good coverage would be the ones that Linda Godfrey touched base on. So I'm going to try and find a few that I actually didn't get from her. And as stated, this all occurred in Wisconsin, near or around Bray Road. We have April 22nd, 1968. It's 10:30 a.m. 19-year-old Michael Larson tells his mother he is going to get his hair cut before visiting the park. Larson never returns. 2 days later, the boys' 1962 VW sedan is found abandoned deep inside the park by a remote gravel pit on South Boundary Road, but Michael Larson was nowhere to be found.
Huh. So that was in 68?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere to be found. This always happens on country roads, I feel.
Right? And it's just interesting. Like you said, he sets out to go get his haircut. He's in a pretty, it's not like totally remote, but that area of Wisconsin near Bray Road and stuff, a lot of cornfields and things. And then his car's found deep inside of this heavily forested area, which really leads to, I don't know, sure, a person could have forced him to drive out there, or he could have just thought it was a nice day and took a drive out there, got out of his van, and then something snagged him. It's just really strange, like you said. I mean, where did he go?
Yeah, right. You could have took a drive out there, but was it normal for him to take a drive out there deep in the woods? He didn't let anybody else know. Like, where's the barbershop over there? Deep in the woods.
Straight up, right? And I mean, according to his mother, yeah, it wasn't really any type of behavior for him not to just show back up and also not inform her where he was going. So yeah, it is pretty bizarre. And like I try to always tell people with cases of individuals going missing, I mean, there's always that chance of, unfortunately, human interaction, but there's also, it's right in the area where there's a ton of dogman activity too. So, I mean, it's like a 50-50 what could have happened, I suppose.
right? Do you think that a Dogman could have like ran him off his path, or maybe caught his eye and he was following it?
I love how you asked that because I have a hypothesis with the Yuba County Five, which was a group of teens, I shouldn't say teens, younger adults, later 20 adults in the California area. That same thing. It's as if something ran them off of the direction that they were going and forced them to go to another direction. And I've stated that to people before. I mean, think, right? So Michael, who's the 19-year-old, he's heading back home, right? Or heading to get his hair cut. And then as you stated, if something like this dogman or some sort of entity is laying in the road or in the road, yeah, it could cause you to swerve in another direction. And then, like you said, if he's being chased, all kinds of strange things really could have occurred to force him in that direction. I mean, yeah, there could have been human encroachment chasing after him. And as far as I know, I don't think even rich people in their cars in the 60s had cell phones in there. I don't know when that thing first started where you had to plug in huge phones in your car, but I don't think they had those in 1968. So there's really no way for him to have contacted any sort of assistance besides like screaming or face to face, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see a way for him to contact. And he's 19 years old, and it's not like he was going out, maybe he wasn't going out there to like party or something if nothing
No, he's
else
by
was
himself.
found.
Yeah. Just going to
Yeah.
get his hair cut, you know?
19 years old, anything would catch your eye. I would feel like, if he didn't get ran off the road by him, he definitely might have saw it and was like, yo, what's that? And then unfortunately, that's like its realm, cornfields leading into the woods,
Hmm.
screaming dog man.
And that's like I said, right by Bray Road, it's a ton of cornfields and such. And man, those are scary as heck. Jody Cook has sent me some from Ohio because that's where he is. And man, those cornfield paths and such, like how they just curve around and it's all dark. And man, something could just literally reach out and grab you and yank you away like children in the corner or something.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Yeah, it's messed up stuff. Well, I got another one here for you too. That is a couple years later. So 1970, two young boys are playing in the hay barn one evening. As they are messing around, they suddenly see a strange, dark black, canine-like creature sitting on its haunches in a field, watching them before slowly standing up and then walking towards them in a hunched over manner on two legs like a human would. Terrified, the two young boys ran inside and told their parents about the encounter. Once heading outside, the creature was nowhere to be found.
Yo, that I visualized that whole story in my head when you're reading it. I mean, might not have been a great experience, but that was a great story.
No, that's what I try to do as well, is just indulge myself into the victim's experience. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, you got two young boys. So, I mean, yes, they are young, but there's two of them, which means, again, sure, you might misidentify something. Yet, I mean, they both seem to be pretty adamant about the aspect of them seeing something that looked like a canine that was walking towards them hunched over. And fast forward to today, that's the type of reports that we get with that posture and stuff. So it's really bizarre.
Yeah, two young boys, they could definitely identify a canine. Like they know what a dog looks like. And then they said it walked like a human would, but like hunched over. I mean, and watching them. So they're just doing what they do, playing up in the hay barn, which is fun. We've all probably
Hmm.
done it. And hay barns are usually, if they're not alone in a field, they're a little ways away from a house because you need room, pull the
Hmm.
tractors around and all that. So who's to say that it wasn't a dog man?
That is so creepy, like you were saying, just because they would have been making noise as children would be. So that obviously this dog man creature or whatever it was aware of them because it's sitting there. And when you get that feeling like someone or something's watching you, I would assume that's probably what had happened to them, or maybe one just happened to glance over in that direction, and then that's when they saw it. And obviously once it realized it had been spotted, yeah, I think a lot of the times, like I stated to people, they're just really trying to observe the situation. Meaning, if I saw two young kids, that's pretty easy to snag them. But if that was, say, two farmers maybe that had, their shotgun on them or something, then it's not probably worth that animal to try and engage to get them. But whereas it was two young boys, yeah, I think it very much was aware of that, and I think it was probably still around in the area. But once it saw the group of adults come out now as well, it probably was like, well, obviously this isn't really worth the outcome because there's a large group of them now.
Yeah. I could totally get that from that story you told as well. If it was just sitting there watching them and then it decided to make a move, like what if it was just gonna go closer and maybe what if it was a young Dogman and it was
Hmm.
like wanted just to interact a bit. But I feel like as well, if it wanted to get him, it probably had a lot of opportunity to grab him then.
So true, and I think maybe if they had gone into the house and say no adults came out or something, who knows how the rest of the encounter could have potentially unfolded, because I documented an encounter from Jan Thompson when she was younger about how her cousin and her female cousin were scared crapless about something that looked to be like a werewolf that had chased them into the house and then was trying to smash in the windows and such to get in. And it didn't stop apparently until Jan's cousins, so her aunt had come home with the groceries and they were supposed to help pull them in. But yet they were so terrified that when the aunt came in, or the parent of her two cousins, she was ticked off because they were supposed to help with the groceries, but they had barricaded themselves underneath this bed with like knives and stuff because they were so afraid.
Yeah. I mean, that speaks levels, I feel. I mean, these things have been around since like the cradle of civilization. They go back so far. They know how to get in the house. They know when to move.
Hmm.
And for them, some young girls just to barricade themselves, like, they weren't playing, obviously.
No, and they were teenagers, so they definitely would have fully known and been well aware as to what was occurring. And before I get another encounter for you, we actually have a hypothesis in our science group that the cynocephaly, at one point in time, obviously had a very prevalent, successful culture. Yet, just like any other culture in the world that is successful, eventually it falls, unfortunately, whether it was Greece, Rome, Egypt, some of the huge Chinese dynasties, whatever. I mean, Vikings, you name it, it falls and collapses eventually. So think now with the cynocephaly, what if they had, just like everybody else, they're not immune to that. What if the majority of their civilization kind of collapsed? So now they're still members of the original group, but they are sparse now and basically divided into separate kind of little tribes. A lot of people think that werewolves, or because they have clothing on, have to be a werewolf. It had to be a human at a point in time. But no, cynocephali wear furs and animal clothing and such. So it makes me really think that a lot of the werewolf lore is just really tied into misidentification with the cynocephali, because according to Herodotus and Alexander the Great, they wore armor as well when they fought. But yes, they also wore like human clothing and furs and all this. So we also potentially think maybe some of these great civilizations in the past, what if, this is obviously 100% a hypothesis, but think, what if Rome or Greece, what if that was like a point in time, a cynocephaly civilization, but yet when, like I said, they collapsed, and then the Greeks just pretty much inherited like all those great structures. I'm not saying that did occur, it's just food for thought.
Yeah, man. I dig that hypothesis. I would say so, dude. Greek inherited Egypt, and Egypt had those gods. Who am I thinking of? You know what, the one with the dog head?
Yeah, Anubis. What if he
There
was
you
same
go.
thing? What if he was kind of like a remnant of the society as it had kind of fallen, and he was looked upon as a pedestal because of his capabilities, because again it looks and falls into the dogman category, and every culture speaks of, they have different terms for it, but I mean even the Aztecs have images of what looks to be cynocephali wearing cool feathers and headdresses and such.
Yeah. Uh, from the first time you were on our podcast and you opened my eyes about Dogman, and then I was on a couple months ago with you, that's something you could find in every civilization. I feel is a beast warrior type deal, mostly canine-ish, but
Right, so
they're
where does it
there.
come from? Like,
Yeah,
why is it before? I mean, I've made this reference so many times in the past. It was nearly impossible to speak to people in other, countries and stuff. So if you were over in China and I was over in California, how the heck am I going to get to you? Yeah, sure, there are some trade boats and things like that, but the odds of me being able to document something and then survive the crazy ship over to you to speak about it, it's nearly impossible. Nothing is impossible to a certain extent, but why do the Chinese culture speak of it? Also, why does the Indian culture speak of it? And then when you come to America, why do the Native Americans speak about it? Why do the Westerners speak about it? I mean, then why do the Europeans speak about it? It's interesting. And then when you have basically like a north to south art trail from Utah all the way down to Brazil depicting what looks to be like skinwalkers and such. It's so mind blowing.
yeah, and they're all depicted as a doggish figure. Anyway,
Yes. Like, where does that come from? I mean, this is before now. Like I said, I don't really take too much stock into more modern day reports. I mean, the reason I
yeah,
say that is just people are looking to hoax, and man, there's just so much crap out there. But when you dive back into some of those historical references where all these cultures speak about it, people could be like, oh, well, the Native Americans, they didn't fully know what they were talking about. Well, what do you mean? Look at the totem pole. Why would say a Sasquatch be on the same totem pole as bald eagles, salmon, and bears, all these other things they would see? It's not like they had huge pink dragons with the Sasquatch and then like crazy looking like arachnid people and such. No, they had animals that we know existed. So again, why would they even make reference at things like wolf people and such? Are people so naive now in modern times to think that an indigenous culture that spends their whole entire life in the forest, they have to be aware of predators, they have to be aware of when they can hunt their prey? Are people really going to be that disrespectful to them to tell them that they don't know what they're seeing in the forest? That's beyond like bizarre, man.
yep. I think people are, because there's no way. How can we say that they didn't get it right? You know what I mean? We weren't there, man. So we can't 100% say that this is what they mean. Like they misidentified this thing as that's just like a wolf that they domesticated. But we weren't there. We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. And these are cultures that had to survive out in the forest and off the land, which means they're always out there. Okay. The majority of Western cultures, especially modern day cultures, we take little ventures out there. Okay. And I've stated this before. Indigenous culture history, to me, I take way more credit and merit into it than I do, for example, like European history on the topic. Man, they were literally because somebody knew how herbs from earth worked, yes, meaning they can help with pain, digestion. Oh no, they must have been a witch. They are werewolves. We need to dispose of them. They were just absolutely insane. But then when you look at the indigenous cultures, they seem to have a pretty good understanding as to the level of you take, but you leave plenty. Like when they needed fish, they would go down and take what they needed and leave for another day. Obviously, they themselves even speak of how some of the other indigenous cultures were savages, meaning they would like straight up just
do insane stuff to the other peaceful tribes. You know, they speak of that, but that's like with every culture. But the majority of the Native Americans were very peaceful and respectful to the land and such. So when it comes to history about nature and the land, I hate to break it to the European history, but I'm going to believe the indigenous culture is way over that.
Yep, I feel you. Me too.
Just because, like you said, they make a living or they made a living off of the land and things. And I mean, they knew what mountain lions were, they knew what every other animal is, they knew what roots were and things like that. So, what would make somebody honestly really think that they would be that confused to be like, hey, we're seeing something that we have no idea? They obviously knew the difference between a bipedal wolf like creature or a skinwalker and a regular wolf, you know?
Yeah, yeah, they could point at it and be like, these are not the same. And who's to say
Right?
that they saw, you know, they got the, they got wearing fur from them. You know what I mean? Like as humans, we saw them with the fur and we're like, you know what, we should do that too. Or they taught us how to do that, and that's why when they paint on the walls, there'll be people wearing like a wolf's fur
Hmm.
over their head and all that stuff. They're just imitating. Or, we
Interesting.
learned this. We learned this from them.
Preach, my friend. It's all great stuff. And before we let you get back to your busy schedule, I got one more here for you. We got 1977, 7 p.m. 7-year-old Kim Del Rio and her mother start to hear loud, human like, animalistic growls coming from the front of their house. Stepping outside, Kim and her mother see all the neighbors come running out as well. There is this one mother clutching her young boy by her side, screaming loudly for help at this strange looking, large, wolf like creature that seemingly had tried to take her boy into the forest. As she is screaming at this animal, it is just standing there growling at her. After seeing the rest of the neighbors, the dog man suddenly bolted off into the forest. Kim says to this day her mom still refers to the animal as that dog thing, a relatively unknown town prior to being put on the map by something Stephen King would have had a hard time dreaming up.
That's crazy. That one's a good one too. Dang. Painted a picture. Um, that one, they all feel right for the moment. You know what I mean? And you can't miss what a dog sounds like, what you feel a dog would sound like.
You would think, right? And yes, that is a woman with her daughter, and then they step outside and just see this creature. And imagine just having that all unfold and just the actual terror that would be ensued experiencing that. And I actually will have time one more that I can churn out to you. But yeah, I just couldn't imagine that. And in the area, it was heavily forested too. So, and the
Yep.
fact that her mom still calls it that dog thing is pretty intriguing.
Yep. Keywords. And she's traumatized. She doesn't have a dog now.
Straight up. Well, this one, on a final note, is July 1984, 2 a.m. A 15-year-old boy is sleeping with his bedroom window open. He is suddenly awoken to loud scratching at the screen. Looking over, he sees a massive silhouette of what seemingly is a creature with two large pointed ears and bright glowing red eyes peering in at him. Jumping out of bed, the boy ran to the other room and grabbed his grandfather's double barrel shotgun. Jeez, little ballsy kid, huh? Running back into his room and raising the gun at the creature, the boy heard it begin to growl and snap its jaws loudly at him before it slowly backed up into the darkness and disappeared.
Dude, the stones on this young man, 15-year-old, facing it. Um, so I feel those are all, scratching at the door and all that. It's still animalistic behavior, but this dog has been, or this dog man, if it was a dog man, has been confronted before.
Yeah, because a new like that weapon or a new basically like that could cause some sort of damage to it. Yeah, that would make sense. And it was like, I don't know if I should really mess around now. And that's what I was saying to you about them evaluating situations before they really put themselves into it. Meaning, if it's somebody that's vulnerable walking their dog or something, then sure, it's a little bit easier to snag, or somebody by themselves. But you got a group of 5, 6, 7, 8 people hiking, then it's probably not so easy to capitalize on that situation. So again, if the kid didn't come back with a shotgun or something, that probably would have just kept screwing with him. I've heard about that so many times, just like tapping and rapping on the side of the house and windows and such. And that would just be messed up. Something with long claws, just like tick, 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 tick. Like,
Yeah. And snapping his jaws.
yeah, that's a pretty normal thing with animals to when they get upset, they do the jaw chitter and stuff. So,
Mm.
yeah, no, definitely. That would be pretty nightmare fuel to have to witness that. And I
Yeah.
wonder if
But
he
to
still
have,
sleeps with his window open.
yeah, man, to have this thing who's like standing up on its hind legs, look at you in the eye, do that. I don't know. That's a different level.
That is a different level. So when it comes to all this stuff, now that you've been paying attention a little bit more, where do you feel that you stand with all this?
Uh, you you can't prove to me that it doesn't exist. And there's so much documentation on it, sightings, stories, people coming forward with it, that there has to be something there. There's truth to it. I'm a believer. I don't have anything witty to say about it, but
No, that's cool. And same thing, when I first started looking into this, I really didn't have an honest 100% opinion whether or not I could verify or make a statement that I do feel that it was or didn't exist or does exist. But now, even though again I've never experienced any of that stuff, just so much research is out there and just so much reports and things, it's just beyond bizarre. There has to be some sort of correlation as to what's occurring for sure. I mean, once you filter out all the insane people, all the liars, once you get through all that stuff, there's still some hardiness left to the plate to really look at the whole entire topic. So again, there's just so much more to keep on researching and trying to explore with it. So I appreciate you, popping in tonight and investing in some of your time here. And I definitely, like I said earlier, stated, would like to get you on back some point sooner than later. And if you do have any sort of document information that you come across, definitely send it my way, because we actually have bolstered up our science team pretty well, and we're really trying to take it to like the next level. And if you are interested in seeing our science team, just pop over to our website and we have it right up on top, in like a slideshow. So it's pretty cool stuff now.
all right, yeah, man, I definitely will check that out, and I'll send you that stuff I told you about earlier. And thanks again for having me back in the lair, man. It's an honor.
No, it is always great. And I tried to see, because Teddy is going to come on. Can't remember the exact, I don't have my schedule with me. It might be Friday or Saturday, but I tried to see if he wanted to pop on tonight as well when you were up on here, but he had something else going on. And Drew actually just reached out to me. I guess
Yeah,
he's still trying to get his whole new house situated and
yeah,
everything. So,
yeah. But I mean, for sure, we want you on before Halloween.
I appreciate that. And Drew said y'all have like a new member too.
Yeah, dude, so he's doing big moves lately, big moves in his life. But he definitely wants to hit you up. We slid him your information. He's supposed to hit you up.
That's cool. That's what Drew
Yeah.
was saying. No, I appreciate that. Tell him to get at me when he can, and I'll definitely get him up here for sure. And like I said, if you ever have any questions and things, man, make sure to send it my way, and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. I mean, we got a ton of good stuff that's been kind of coming into us, that not crappy little pictures, but actual like good vocalizations that we've had specialists look at to see if they were, human oriented, and footprints and all kinds of bizarre stuff. So, and then we
Yeah.
still got to update the Google Maps, man, like the pings where all the encounters are happening. But that's a ton of work, man. I got to go through like 548 pages, man, to like ping all that stuff, dude. So,
Yeah. That'll be cool though.
no, it's definitely helpful, but it's
lower on my totem pole at the moment until I'm able to get caught up with other stuff, man, for sure. Because also it's good, I feel, with the pings, but we also have had people steal our encounters like that too, just because it shows the ping on there and then they don't give us
Oh
credit
yeah.
for it.
Oh man, that's true. You can't watermark them. Yeah. You know what? People gonna be people. Forget them. Yeah, maybe don't.
No, exactly. That's why I tried to recently get it. So on my YouTube videos, I have my little logo down in the corner because, hey, man, everyone can use the North American Dogman Project stuff and things like that. But all we just really ask is, a shout out and like credit
Oh,
for
sure.
the fact that, we did that and things like that. But like you said, you know how people are, man. They don't, they don't like to
Yeah.
roll like that. So
People gonna be people, dude. Hey, did you make that song you sent the other day?
which one? Oh,
It
the
was
metal
like
one?
yeah.
Yeah, I did actually with one of my
That
friends
was,
that's a musician.
dude, yeah, I've been getting into I don't know if you know Falling in Reverse.
Yeah, they're pretty dope, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting into that. So then you sent me that, and I was like, oh shit, the vibe is real.
Yeah, one of my friends, man, the one that's gonna be working on the next video, she's hella up into that stuff too. I listen to all kinds of different music. I used to listen to a ton of that. I actually listen to a lot of, I don't even know how to describe it, like just synthwave, just chill kind of stuff now. I mean, it's got dope beats and things, but I don't really listen to
That
too
lo-fi
much
stuff.
rap and like too much crazy metal really anymore. But I still like dive into, like I said, the stuff I sent you and things. As long as there's some singing up in it, I like listen now and such. But
Yeah, man, it was dope. I liked it, dude. You're doing big things. Keep doing what
appreciate
you're
it.
doing.
Thank you for everyone who once again stopped by tonight for this episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on Star Fox Radio. If you do enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share it. Feed the algorithm. And I will see you later.